In 2024, the CEO of a $2 trillion company stood before the brightest minds of Stanford and offered them a wish. He didn't wish them wealth. He didn't wish them fame. He wished them pain. Jensen Huang, the founder of Nvidia, told the graduating class, "For all of you Stanford students, I wish upon you ample doses of pain and suffering." The room went silent. No, he wasn't being cruel. He was teaching them the single most powerful philosophy that built a $2.5 trillion company. And today, you're going to learn exactly how to apply it to your life. Before he was the CEO of Nvidia, Jensen Huang was a dishwasher at Denny's. He cleaned toilets. He washed dishes. He came from nothing. He told Stanford that one of his great advantages is that he has very low expectations. He said, people with very high expectations have very low resilience. And unfortunately, resilience matters in success. This is the dark psychology twist most people never understand. The people with the most success often expected the least comfort.
Let's rewind to 2022. Nvidia's stock had skyrocketed. The pandemic had fueled a gaming frenzy. Crypto mining had created unprecedented demand. Everything was perfect. Then the bottom fell out. Cryptocurrencies crashed. Gaming demand normalized. Nvidia's market cap dropped 80%. 80%. In plain terms, hundreds of billions of dollars evaporated in months. Most companies never recover from that. Most CEOs would panic. Most would hide. Jensen Huang didn't blink. When asked how he felt during that collapse, Huang gave an answer that sounds insane to most people. He said, "My pulse was exactly the same. Same as when they were on top. Same as when they were at the bottom." His pulse didn't change. Why? Because he understood something that Stoic philosophers wrote about 2,000 years ago. A principle that separates successful people from everyone else. Your emotions shouldn't depend on things you don't control.
Epictetus, the Greek Stoic philosopher, was born a slave. He wrote that what truly matters in life is not what happens to you, but how you respond. He taught a fundamental distinction that most people miss. Some things are in your control, and some things are not. Your judgments, your values, your decisions, those are in your control. Your reputation, your wealth, your stock price, those are not. Jensen Huang lives by this rule. He knew the stock price wasn't in his control. The work was. Huang said something fascinating about the crash. He said, physics and gravity did not change. The fundamentals of the business hadn't changed. They were still building the best chips in the world. They were still solving the hardest problems in computing. Only one thing had changed, the market's perception. And perception? That's not in your control. So he didn't panic. He didn't hold emergency meetings about share prices. He went back to work. Huang once said, "To this day, I use the phrase pain and suffering inside our company with great glee. I mean that in a happy way, because you want to refine the character of your company." This is the dark psychology twist that changes everything. Most people avoid pain. They see difficulty as a sign they're on the wrong path. But Stoicism says the exact opposite. Pain is the forge. Suffering is the fire that hardens your character. Huang didn't just tolerate the 80% crash. He saw it as an opportunity, a chance to prove who Nvidia really was. This is where most people fail. They see obstacles as reasons to quit. Huang sees obstacles as reasons to grow. He said, "One of the great things about being a founder is that you can define the culture. And I defined ours around pain and suffering." Not because he's cruel, because he knows that comfort creates weakness, and pain creates strength. The 80% crash is what made Nvidia what it is today. Because Huang didn't flinch. He didn't panic. He went back to work. Now let's talk about you. Because this isn't just a story about Nvidia. This is a story about your life. What's your 80% crash? What's the obstacle you're avoiding? What's the problem you think is too big? That's not a problem. That's your opportunity. That's your forge. Huang didn't become successful because things were easy. He became successful because he built character through suffering. Here are 3 Stoic lessons you can apply today. Lesson 1. Define your pain and suffering reframe. What's the hardest challenge you're facing right now? Write it down. Then ask, is this in my control? If not, release it. If yes, what is this teaching me? Lesson 2. Stop controlling what you can't. Huang gave up control over the stock price and doubled down on the work. What could you give up today? Lesson 3. See pain as refinement. Stop seeing hardship as punishment. See it as the forge that's building your character. Stoicism is experiencing a cultural explosion. r/Stoicism has grown to over 620,000 members. Daily Stoic has 1.7 million subscribers on YouTube. People are hungry for this wisdom. They're tired of chasing happiness and finding emptiness. They're turning to ancient philosophy because it works. And you're one of them. That's why you're here. That's why this matters. Jensen Huang didn't build a $2.5 trillion company because he was lucky. He built it because he made a choice. A choice to treat pain as the foundation, not the obstacle. A choice to expect nothing, so everything was a gift. He said, greatness is not intelligence. Greatness comes from character. And character isn't formed out of smart people. It's formed out of people who suffered. The question isn't whether you'll suffer. The question is, what will you build from it? Welcome to the Stoic Edge. This is the place where we decode the psychology behind the world's greatest minds. If you want to understand how Stoicism builds unstoppable leaders, subscribe to the Stoic Edge. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video on Elon Musk's dark psychology and how he uses Stoic principles. And remember, your competitors are struggling right now. The only question is, are you? Or are you building? Subscribe and start winning.